All smart and looking good to go, eh, sir?
Others fled inland to live with the natives. This language was a First Nation people who spoke a language very similar to Chinese. There is no clear record of how the Chinese merchants in San Francisco heard of the gold discovery in the north. They immediately sent out scouts to obtain more information. At the end of June 1858, the first would
係恭喜大家新年快樂，萬事如意，身體健康。Thank you。
而家咧，我哋呢間公司咧就係咧漢星有限公司嘅。咁啊，而家我哋咧呢個係德國做嘅，佢咧就可以咧千年塵跡咧都可以抹啦，同埋啲細路仔咧畫牆啊。咁啊，我哋咧你就算點樣拆點拆都唔得嘅。咁啊，我哋咧只係濕一濕水咧，完全咧就可以咧就擦到乾乾淨淨啦。咁啊，同埋咧依杯積啊、依爐頭啊、雪櫃嗰啲浴缸啊都可以啊。嗱，好多積啊成啊，我哋一抹去咧已經甩晒嘅。呢個係新出係德國做嘅。
一齊講恭喜發財好唔好？
恭喜發財！
齊啲得唔得啊？預備1、2、3。
恭喜發財！
豬年行大運。
豬年行大運，個個好運。
新年新气象，现在我们来到了多伦多的会展中心，那么这里也红红火火的上演了一场这种展览秀。那我们现在来到的展位呢，就是立德美容发艺学院。想问一问Rita，对我们这个学院今年新年有什么新的展望和愿望呢？
有什么愿望啊？我呢就希望可以讲国语吗？可以讲国语。我希望呢，今年呢多收一点学生，我希望把我的功夫、我的手艺传授给他们。
多带一点学生，让自己的手艺可以发扬光大，这样桃李满天下啊！
是啊。第二啦，我希望啦，我的客人能够给我帮他办更漂亮、更好的皮肤，形象也很好，这是我的希望了。
好，那我们有没有什么新的产品今年推出呢？
产品呢，我暂时没有其他。其实呢，我们做皮肤保养呢，基本上是你要怎么样懂得下那个护肤品，懂得怎么样调理它的皮肤问题，就是那个皮肤分色，怎么样下这个产品怎么运作，怎么样用，这个最重要的。
我看 Rita 本人保养的就很好，肯定有很多这个保养秘诀。可不可以给我们观众介绍有2条这种美容护肤的秘诀呢？
其实呢，我们保养皮肤呢没有其他的，基本上要吃的东西要吃清淡一点，不要太肥啊，运动啊，其实差不多每个人都知道的。第二，这是我们知道皮肤有什么问题，我们早一点去解决，不要把这个时间拖得太长，才去做这个美容保养护肤。不要拖得太长时间。
好的，那我们也祝愿美容学院越办越红火，在金猪年也可以有行好运，这个财源广广啊！好，以上就是主持人王养芳在会展中心为您做的现场报道。Happy New Year! Firstly, I'd like to say Happy New Year for the year of the pig. Now I am in the CNE to see a really great show exhibition. Now I'm in this place called MSIC. I'm really curious. Let me ask someone. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Avita.
Avita, nice to meet you. I'm Angel. Where are you from? We're from Toronto TV. Would you like to say more about MSIC?
Sure. M6 stands for Medical Students Initiatives in China. We're a group of medical students from the University of Western Ontario.
Yeah.
And every year a group of us travels to China so that we can visit the larger cities and also some of the smaller villages just to learn about the medical system in China and to gain some valuable experience that we can bring back to help enrich our education when we arrive back in Canada.
So you help the Canadians here to learn something from China and help them here, right?
Well, what we're going to be doing is we travel to some of the larger cities, such as we're visiting Beijing and Shanghai, and we're just going to be shadowing physicians there and following them, watching some of the procedures, seeing how the healthcare system there differs from here.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we're also going to be visiting some smaller villages, and what we'll do there is we'll set up some clinics to measure some things like blood pressure or heart rate, things that are kind of basic things that need to be monitored that people in the smaller villages wouldn't have access to that kind of basic care. And also we'll be doing some education about AIDS and other kind of health concerns to help educate the people in the smaller villages.
Yeah, I think it's really great to exchange the information between China and Canada for the medical system.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your hope for the new year for the MSIC? What's your new hope?
Well, what we're hoping is just that we'll be able to learn a lot during our trip, and to bring that information back so that we can share it with our colleagues at the medical school. And also, we're making this a yearly event. It's been running since 2002, so part of it is also to just establish contacts in China and build relationships that we can enrich each year as a new team travels to China. So that
I hope both China and Canada, the medical system will turn much better.
I think we can learn from each other. So that's kind of the goal. Share with them what we know and learn something from them as well and bring it back home.
Thanks so much. This is Andrew from CNE.
我穿那个重庆同乡会，那会长帮我借了一个唱刘海凯车，过瘾呢，一跳起来。
記得揸你腳頭好好喎，哇！做咩啊？
能登上官兵的车，开心吗？
很好玩，从来没有坐过，不知道什么感
Angel，拿给我。这个是老兵啊。
这是我们的 Tactical Vest 专属背心，这有1、2、3档，这有 zipper。
He can speak Chinese, much comfortable.
你想不想带这个？
好，我不知道能不能带进去。好，这个要不要记起来？嗯，好，可以开始了吗？好，我现在是在国防部的一辆卡车上，怎么叫？是不是叫卡车，还是叫什么？
这是我们的 LUVW， 也就是 Light Utility Vehicle Wheel， 这是我们的 Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon， 这是我们现在军队里通用的轻型卡车。
哦，就是轻型卡车，那主要它做什么功用呢？
我们有3种，实际上有3种 variants， 有军警 variant， 有 Command Reconnaissance， 就是你现在坐的这辆，还有就是一般的 Utility version。这辆 Command Reconnaissance 有一个就是你现在看到的炮塔，在这里我们一般有一个 mount 可以放任何3种机关枪或者是榴弹发射器，然后一般的那种 utility version 呢，就上面只是一个 rack， 就是专门放货物的。
哦，那就是说这里是放一些武器是吗？
对，这是一个武器平台的。
武器平台，那就是说作战的时候，士兵是站在哪个位置？就是说，
就你现在站的这个位置。
哦，就是说我这个位置就是作战的这个位置，就可以就是用枪来就是敌人作战，是这样吗？
机枪手现在就站在你这个地方。
哦，机枪手。
对。
然后一共有可以乘几个人在这里？
我们这个版本的这辆车一共是坐3个人。
哦。
然后呢，那个一般的货物型呢就是坐4个人。
哦。
军警型也是坐3个人。
哦，那就是说这里站2个人，然后加一个就是说司机是吗？
不是的，是这里站1个人，前面有一个就是 crew commander， 有一个指挥官，然后有一个司机在坐在这里。
哦，这样子。那么如果发生就是说。因为我还不太了解就是军事方面一些术语了，然后如果发生作战的时候，就是说有什么自保的措施吗？或者说我们有哪些地方可以这样子保护的地点躲藏，或者说怎么样？
我们这辆车子呢有一个装甲的 package， 我们在战时可以装上。我们这辆车子现在暂时不是装甲的，但是在 Afghanistan 我们这辆车呢，这些门都是换过的，都是有装甲玻璃。对。所有的玻璃都是装甲的，然后这里也是装甲。然后我们当然我们有一个武器平台，可以放一挺枪或者一个榴弹发射器，这是我们唯一的武器。
就是这是唯一的武器。
对，当然车座人员也有自己的随身武器，但这就够了。
那就是你们也要穿防弹衣，或者是有什么？
对，我们每个人都穿防弹衣。
这样子。然后就是说戴这个帽子也是保护头部的。
对。
好的，好，非常感谢你的。
好，没关系。
好，现在是瓦养方在现场，国防部的现场为你做出的现场报道。
Ready？ 注意行大運，恭喜發財！注意行大運。
Right Honorable Stephen Harper, Prime Minister of Canada. My name is Betty Lee, and I'm proud to be your MC for tonight. In less than 2 days, over 1 billion people all across Asia will be rejoicing at the arrival of this splendid festival. Here tonight, in Toronto, halfway across the globe, we too gather the entire community to rejoice at the celebration of Lunar New Year. More importantly, we are all gathered here tonight to also celebrate and appreciate Canada's multiculturalism and cross-ethnicity synergies. This evening marks the opening of the 10th anniversary Toronto Celebrates Chinese Lunar New Year. The 3-day event will be filled with exciting activities, performances, and everything put together for the community by the community. Once again, as your MC tonight, I'm truly honored to be here with all of you in celebrating this very special event, so symbolic of Canada's multiculturalism. And now, with even greater pleasure, I announce that the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, Prime Minister of Canada, is also here tonight to join us in our spectacular celebration. Let us all rise in the singing of our national anthem. For you, a wide spectrum of different performances which are meant to capture the rich history and the diversity of the Chinese culture. Here on stage first tonight will be the Lily Arts Troupe, who will be performing for us a Chinese folk dance.
义不是态，红尘里没有应不应该，本来不义过，哪里会有真爱？凡人就是不明白。皇帝不期待，听说哪里出来，管他好不好，坏与不坏，难的是糊涂，何在不成不败？你这活脱太奇怪。不爱在人不是。
sincere apologies to all Canadians of the Chinese origin who were adversely affected by previous discriminatory policies, such as the head tax and the Chinese Exclusion Acts. To commemorate this unique moment in Canadian history, an hour-long documentary named From Gold Mountain to Mainstream was created. This documentary is a culmination of the dedicated efforts of firstly Mr. Ying President of the Chinese Canadian Community Alliance. And secondly, Mr. Edmund Sen, Executive Producer of Fairchild Televisions.
On behalf of the people and government of Canada, we offer a full apology to Chinese Canadians for the head tax and express our deepest sorrow for the subsequent exclusion of Chinese immigrants. Gana Dai Dobi.
On June 22, 2006, Prime Minister Stephen Harper formally apologized to Chinese Canadians for the head tax. He admitted that the past racist legislations were historical errors and promised monetary compensation.
At least some members of the generation who experienced that could have redress, so the apology could be real to real people. And I have to say it was one of the proudest moments in my brief life as Prime Minister to be able to deliver that apology in the House of Assembly.
Initially,
Dedicated production team who has put forth tremendous effort and leadership to pull together tonight's event. Now, please join me in welcoming the festival executive producer of 2007, Mr. Alex Yeung, who, along with his team, has dedicated tremendous leadership and coordination to bring this spectacular celebration here tonight to us, to the Greater Toronto community. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alex Yeung.
Wow, it certainly feels good behind this podium here. Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. The Right Honourable Prime Minister Harper. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. I would like to officially welcome you to the 2007 Toronto Celebrate Lunar New Year Festival. Thank you all for joining us this evening to make this joyous occasion. I'm pleased that you could join us for our opening ceremonies. As I look into the crowd, I'm pleased to see so much diversity. I see faces spanning many generations and expressions of many different cultures. This is why we strive for each year, my staff and I, to bring Toronto here. I think that we have a good representation of it tonight. Thank you all for being here. My staff and I have worked hard to make this year's festival the best one ever. We aim to showcase the community's best in performing arts, Asian foods, and the traditions. Please remain after the ceremonies to enjoy further performances on our Toronto Star main stage. Walk through the market fair and the International Arts and Craft Bazaar, and treat yourself to delicious international delicacy in our food court. Also, please visit our Chinese Canadian historic exhibits from Gold Mountain to the mainstream, as you have just witnessed on our screen here. The exhibits chronicle Chinese Canadian history from the building of the Canadian Railroad to the Chinese head tax to the Chinese veterans in World War II and to more recent achievements made by the Chinese community. Chinese communities in Canada are an integral part of the fabric that make up our great nation. This event not only commemorates the Chinese Canadian community and its many contributions to our country, but to celebrate its vitality, versatility, and strength through challenge and change. I'm pleased to announce that we have very special guests joining us to have expressed gratitude and congratulations of our many achievements. The Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper. He is here with his hardworking Secretary of State, Secretary of State for Multiculturalism and Canadian Identity, Kenney, and also the dedicated Wajid Khan. Let me invite Kenney to come up here and welcome him to the stage to introduce the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, members of the community, it is a great honor for me to join you tonight in welcoming the Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper. As we just saw in that magnificent video documentary, the very first public statement that Prime Minister Harper made in his very first press conference as Prime Minister was to wish Chinese Canadians a happy Lunar New Year last year. And in that statement, he reiterated his election commitment to express a formal apology for the injustices of the past about which we just saw this documentary. And he kept his word. In 5 months, he did what his 9 predecessors in the office of Prime Minister did not do, which was to consult broadly in the Chinese Canadian community to lead the way towards that historic apology leading to reconciliation and healing and redress. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a Prime Minister who I think appreciates better the remarkable contribution to the fabric of this nation made by Chinese immigrants and their descendants over the past 120 years. This Prime Minister has attended in the past year, this is his 7th major Chinese community event in his first year as Prime Minister alone. I think that's a pretty good record. And so, please join with me in welcoming to the stage for the official opening of this festival, Canada's Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper.
Mesdames et messieurs, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Da Jai Hao. You'll have to forgive my pronunciation, ladies and gentlemen. My Mandarin isn't quite as good as my French, but I am working on it. In fact, I've got my own private tutor of sorts. The man who was kind enough to introduce me, Kenney. Jason, as you may know, was recently sworn into the ministry as Secretary of State for Multiculturalism and Canadian Identity. In his new position, he'll be bringing the views and perspective of Canada's various cultural groups to Ottawa. And I can tell you, Jason's already doing a first-rate job in his new role, so please give Jason and Kenney a well-deserved round of applause. I have particular reason to celebrate, as I was born during the Year of the Pig. I'm told that those born under this sign are renowned for their honesty, directness, and patience. Well, I certainly try to be honest and direct. That's why our government puts so much emphasis on accountability and why we try to speak plainly and openly about our plans. But I must admit, I'm not always the most patient man in the world. I have particular frustrations with the opposition in a minority parliament, but it just means we have to work a little harder. I have to stay focused on our priorities and get the job done. And friends, let me assure you that our government will continue to focus on building a stronger, safer, and better Canada that works for all of us. We want to see a country that values safe streets and peaceful communities, a country that rewards hard work and initiative, a country that respects the important role of the family. Now, the sheer scale of tonight's event is a testament to the growing importance of the Chinese community in the Canadian family. Quand vous réussissez pour célébrer l'année du prochain, il est évident que la communauté chinoise joue un rôle de plus en plus important au sein de la société canadienne. Regardless of the field, be it in the sciences, business, the arts, or politics, Chinese Canadians are making their mark, just as they always have. Consider, for instance, as was mentioned earlier in the documentary, the role played by the Chinese in the construction of the Canadian Pacific Railway. This was undoubtedly the most important nation-building exercise in Canadian history. The CPR was the ribbon of steel that bound together a fledgling country. It was an engineering feat, a feat for which the labors of thousands of hardworking Chinese were largely responsible. Now, of course, historically, the building of the CPR was followed by the shameful head tax. And I think we can all agree that this Chinese New Year, I think we can all thank Minister Bev Oda and Jason Kenney who worked on this. I think we can all be thankful that the Chinese community, that the government, that we have apologized and put this behind us and reunited Chinese Canadians with the Canadian family. Now, of course, following the end of the head tax, increasing numbers of Chinese chose to come to Canada to build new and better lives. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, all Canadians have benefited as a result of these waves of immigration. Simply put, the Canada we know and love today wouldn't exist without the contributions made by Chinese Canadians over the years. Chinese Canadians have shown that ours is a country in which what you've done and where you're going matter more than who you are or where you're from. A country united at home and respected abroad. A country unwavering in its commitment to freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. In short, a country of which we can all be proud. Therefore, on behalf of Canada's new government, I'd like to take this brief opportunity to thank you, the Chinese Canadian community, for the contributions that your ancestors have made to our history, the contributions you and your families are making today, and the contributions I am sure, and I am confident, that your children and grandchildren will undoubtedly make in the future. And in closing, I'd like to offer my best wishes for the good health and good fortune as you and your loved ones gather to celebrate the new year. May this year prove to be peaceful and prosperous to you and your family. Gang hai fat joy. Merci beaucoup. May God keep Canada strong and proud.
Your presence here truly attests to our pride in Canada's appreciation and respect for multiculturalism. Thank you once again, Right Honourable Stephen Harper, Prime Minister of Canada. once again, we invite the following guests on stage to join us in the performance of the Lion Eye Dotting ceremony. The Honourable Jason Kenney, Secretary of State for Multiculturalism and Canadian Identity. Honourable Wajid Khan, MP of Mississauga and Streetsville. Honourable Olivia Chow, MP Trinity Spadina. Mohammed Singh, President of Canadian Multiculturalism Council. Mr. Alex Yeung, Festival Executive Producer, and the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, Prime Minister of Canada.
Friends to dot the lion. Let's give him a hand.
Okay, say 1, 2, 3, okay. Go! That's right. Go hit Pacho. Go hit Pacho.
all have a prosperous, healthy day.
我係現代日報嘅門中偉，喺度謹祝各位豬年萬事如意、身體健康、心想事成。
各位好，新年快樂！恭喜發財！今年嘅金豬年宵新水又開始啦。今晚仲請到總理 Harper 嚟添，咁結果咧就係成千多人咧一齊咧好開心咁樣歡迎呢個豬年嘅來臨。但係咧呢個節目3日嘅喎，仲有2日，請你多啲嚟啦。又有舞獅舞龍魔術雜技馬戲，樣樣都齊啊！今年仲有啲嘉年華遊戲好玩嘅，所以你唔好錯過一定要嚟多謝各位。
之後就係恭喜嗰個。
好，買低呢個先。恭喜發財，新年快樂，大家心想事成。